B and I had a pretty interesting conversation earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at concern level with the team if you three-game losing streak?
I wouldn't say concern. I'm more like curious what's really going on and are they going to be able to fix it this season? I mean, they were like one of the hottest teams in the league in week 3, 4, and now they just seem flat.
Yeah.
I think the last game I take as an outlier because I feel like everybody played like crap. They had some good moments, and they were squandered on offense. You think about the takeaways, which they've preached however many times, and they can never turn those into points. That's probably my biggest concern right now, and just kind of getting the offense reset. But I mean, I think there was also an expectation that there would be some bumps in the road. You know, he is still a rookie quarterback, Shaden Daniels, and I thought he actually played pretty well in the last game, looked more like himself. And there's still a lot of holes on the roster, and there's going to be way more in the offseason, but that's a different story. So, yeah, I'm mostly just curious on, you know, how are they going to get it back on track, if they can get it back on track? And, you know, is the playoff still a realistic expectation at this point?
When you look at those questions, you said something very interesting in there that there are going to be even more holes this offseason. What are you alluding to? Just because it is a ton of guys on 1-year deals. I am, but
that's the biggest thing is, you know, they signed a lot of veterans who have turned into really good assets, but they're on shorter term deals. So you're going to have a lot of free agents, a lot of starters that are going to be free agents.
Yep.
So and then there are some obvious positions that you would think they'd try to upgrade. So probably need at least 1, maybe 2 tackles, you know.
Draft also, yeah.
Definitely need tight ends. Definitely need receivers.
Running backs.
Definitely need more backs.
Yeah.
The whole defensive line, corner, depending on what they do with Jeremy Chin, probably safety. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah, I think we got we knew it was a rebuild. Things started going good. We forgot about the rebuild. And now we're seeing this is a rebuild. You know what I mean? Because, like, when you build a team, I think the ultimate thing people forget, teams don't win by having 22 good starters. Well, let's say 25 with the kicker, the snapper, and the punter. If 25 good starters, people think, oh, yeah, we're going to win. No, you got to have backups. And right now, this team don't have enough legitimate backups to be competing at a level once they start getting injuries. And their injuries hurt more than any other team injuries hurt.
I agree. I thought there was a small margin for them, like a very small margin for them to have errors. And this is where the concern about the offensive line came in. And I thought they did really well in the early going. I thought the way Jaden played helped them a ton too, because he can evade pressure, you know, extend plays with his feet. But they don't have any depth on the line. This is like, that was the one benefit of Washington's line like 4 years ago, was they could go down to their 5th center and still be okay. But the depth, it's not there on the line. So, you know, of course the offensive line is going to get banged up. That's an inevitable. At least one guy is going to be banged up, usually way more. To have, you know, really 3, maybe, you know, they're still playing, but, you know, they're not close to, you know, being right.
Yeah.
And they don't have, you know, the talent behind them to really make it a seamless transition if they need to step away.
Talking with our friend Nicki Jhabvala from the Washington Post, Commanders Insider. You can read her work at WashingtonPost.com. Or I use the app, the Washington Post app, and I have notifications for Nicki's work, which is actually pretty damn helpful. You can follow her on X at Nicki Jhabvala, NICKI JHABVALA. One of the hot topics, and BMitch will definitely laugh at this, in the Skins media room of late is a lot of people want to leave Twitter and are going to the new app called Blue Sky. You are refusing, Nicki, is my understanding. Are you still holding strong?
Well, refuse is a strong word. I'm not refusing.
Oh, she's caving a little.
No, it's more like it's just another like place that we gotta. I sound lazy, but that's not really it either.
It's just another thing we have to do.
It's just another thing, and then like, I thought, oh, remember when Threads was going to be the new thing and everybody moved there, and that died pretty quickly. So I want to see that Blue Sky is like legit first.
Yeah.
And then I'll go over.
I am JP Finlay DC on Blue Sky. To me, the
Did
whole
somebody
thing.
take JP Finlay?
Yes, JP Finlay was taken.
Oh, somebody took that. They're gonna sell that to him.
I ain't
They're like,
buying
he
it.
making all that money. I'm getting some of that.
I ain't buying it. Actually, it's someone named Jonathan Finlay. He's a Blue Sky adult volunteer in UK scouting. I guess he's a Boy Scout in England. So follow that dude too if you want. I think this will go by the way of Threads, frankly. I think this feels overtly political and in response to events over the last month.
I think it's going to be another one that's going to come out that's going to compete.
If there was, this would be it because it looks the most similar. Just hard to get that migration. It's also
I just think it'll end up being toxic anyway. Like if it gets enough people and it becomes a real competitor to Twitter, it'll just end up being toxic.
I think they should make everybody have to really, really do like a background and put your real stuff out there. That's where you get rid of the toxicity.
Yeah.
Because anybody that can hide behind an avatar and a fake ass name, they're gonna always be toxic.
Correct. I totally agree with both of you. All right, back to football. I asked Brian a question a few minutes ago that I'm going to ask you now. Currently, the Commanders are 7-5. If the playoffs started today, they'd be the 7 seed. Unfortunately, we'd be heading to Philly in January for the wild card game. But the season doesn't end today. They've got a game Sunday, then a bye week, then 4 more games. Nicki Jhabvala, the question is relatively simple. I fear the answer is not. Are the Commanders a playoff team?
Yes, I think they are, but by a hair. Yes. I mean, the schedule is friendly.
Sure.
I think. Of course, now the Titans are starting to get decent, and they face them at like the wrong time. But and we also said there's they absolutely have to beat Dallas, and they did not.
Right.
So, life comes at you fast.
Yeah.
But I still think they get there somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the remainder, you get Tennessee, which to Brian's earlier point, like who knows? You never know week to week. Who the hell knows, right? But I do think when they finally get to this late bye, they're going to be the freshest team in the NFL down the stretch. They have 3 games in 30 days, including a full week off. I think that gives them a real chance. I don't think any of those late games will be easy. Who knows what Dallas will have left at that point, but Dallas just beat them. So it's not even
right. You can't,
it's crazy
to talk about. And it'll be, in Dallas and at New Orleans. So you can't totally count them out either. Like you can't count any of them out, but yeah, I mean, the late bye is just so brutal. Like no team has had week 14 bye, which is the latest possible week for 3 straight seasons. Only Washington.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
I do a bye week trip every year, and we have to go further and further south to find some warmth.
To find warmth.
How do they get? All right, so if we say they're a playoff team, their last month they're 1-3. That ain't playoff team. How do they turn this thing around?
Win.
Sure. How?
No, I mean they got to get this offense together. They got to get. This is where I agree with Quinn. I think. Well, I say agree to a point. I think you have to make some adjustments to the offense. You can't just keep all the same things when defenses are adjusting to you, which they do seem to be doing. But I think a lot of it is execution, and they got to figure out, why it's not translating from the practice field to the game. I think it helps that Jaden Daniels did appear to be a bit healthier.
I thought Jaden looked pretty good.
He had looked like him. Yeah, he looked explosive. He doesn't have that pinpoint accuracy, but maybe those few games were the outliers, and it's hard to throw that accurate all the time. So yeah, and I think on a lot of those incompletions, I think it's knee jerk to always blame the quarterback, and that's not. I mean, many times it's not the case. Like I think the deep one to Zach Ertz, I think that was. I don't know this for sure. I'm not in the meeting rooms. I obviously can't hear the calls, but it looked like he was expecting Zach Ertz to go higher on his route and then kind of flatten off.
That's the same thing I was told by couple of receivers I was sitting next to, they said the exact same thing, and a cornerback. So,
yeah. I mean, there were some that were, hit Noah Brown straight in the chest and dropped. So, yeah, I mean, it goes down to everybody. So they got to clean that up in all three phases. The one I'm really curious about, and I'd be surprised if we see him this week just because of the bye coming up, is Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, like, you make that trade when you're winning, when you're doing well, and when you feel like you're a contender. He's hurt, obviously, so he can't play, and now you've lost the last 3 games. Is there? I hate even saying this before the guy gets on the field, but like, is there any remorse about making a deal like that when clearly you're going to have some work to do in the offseason on the roster? It just looks like they're in a different state post trade deadline than they were going into it. A drastically different one.
Agreed.
Yeah, I thought he would have played by now. I hope he's playing this week.
Nicki,
yeah,
and specific.
I'm at that point now where we got him. I was excited. I need to see him. I know what he's capable of, but I can't listen. I'm one where I don't really go full bore until I see you play on this team in these colors. Don't care what you did in somebody else's colors.
Well, and let's. I think this just came from Fowler, and if you need to check your phone, check your phone. That Commanders are working out Jerry Jacobs, who's another corner. I don't know.
Yeah.
The fact that they're working out other veteran corners to me doesn't sound that great for Lattimore playing this week. I
would be surprised even if we were close. It's like he could have another 2 weeks, or you push him out for this week.
What is? I agree with you. What is the structure of that deal going forward? Because I know New Orleans ate a lot of it to make the trade happen, but like looking at 2 more years on the deal, yes, no remaining guaranteed money on that. Do you think they have to kind of rework that thing to make that a long-term investment?
Possibly. I mean, they have a good bit of cap space for next season. So I think the roster, honestly, and this is such a vague answer, but I think there are going to be a lot of new deals, whether it's extending, some veterans that are on expiring ones or bringing in new talent. That it's kind of hard to say how they will want to structure that, because it could depend on how the others are structured. But I mean, I'm looking at it now. I mean, he's got a roster bonus due early next year in March, right? So maybe they look to restructure and kind of move some into.
Could that be related to somebody else other than Lattimore?
It could be.
Could it be related to somebody else other than Lattimore? I mean, listen.
Yeah.
One thing we learn about these dudes, if you're not performing at the level that they want you to perform, they don't mind letting you go.
Or that somebody's hurt. Somebody from Sunday is just hurt, and we'll find out tomorrow when we're back out there.
Next year, I mean, what they've been doing too is they work out guys just for future reference.
Yeah, for 2 weeks from now, after the bye or whatever. The moves. One move I would be interested in, and I think, frankly, could come when the season ends. I don't think at this stage you would really address it, but I could see something between January and March. I think you try to get Chin back because you got Luvu back.
Yeah, I like him.
Like Luvu's got more years on there. I would try to get Chin locked up before free agency opens. Do you agree with that?
Chin definitely. I would say Chin definitely. I mean, he's been such a great asset to a secondary that's with a lot of young players too. He's been great for them. Wagner's the other one. I mean, it's kind of up to I would think it's up to Wagner on what he wants to do, but I mean, he doesn't look like a dude that's got 13 years in his belt.
He's still playing well,
he can
man.
still play.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wagner, Luvu, Chin have been probably the best players on that defense. Fowler has been quite good too. Specific to the run game, talking with our friend Nicki Jhabvala, Washington Post. Give her a follow at Nicki Jhabvala, NICKIJHABVALA. Use your crystal ball and tell me who's the leading ball carrier this weekend.
Oof.
BMitch.
Yo, Nicki, will you tweet this out? Will you tweet this out? If you tweet it out, I'll put it on Blue Sky. Per sources, Brian Mitchell considering a return. He understands Commanders need help at kick return and running back and thinks he's got something left.
Brian Mitchell files for reinstatement.
Yo, did you ever formally turn in your retirement paperwork?
Yeah, I'm done, dog.
No, it's never too late. Shaq Barrett just filed his reinstatement papers. It's never too late.
Hey, Nikki, that mean I got to go work out like real intently.
Yeah,
you worked out this morning.
Yeah, I was working out to walk to the sideline, not run up and down the field.
Please tweet it out. Yo, per sources, Brian Mitchell contemplating reinstatement paperwork with the NFL. That's
I wonder how many phone calls I would get. Hey, man, you really? Nah, bro.
All right, now that you can't say BMitch, who's your leading ball carrier this weekend?
Oh, gosh. At this point, not seeing how Brian Robinson is after that game, Jeremy McNichols? I mean, I feel like they got to sign. I mean, they released Chris Rodriguez. They got to either sign him back to the practice squad or something, or sign him back. They got to have some depth there. And maybe
I
they're
think
waiting
Brian's
to
going
see
to play.
Rob on the field. What's that?
I think Brian plays.
You think so?
When the knee thing and the hamstring, I understood. This is an ankle.
Right.
You tape up an ankle, you go.
Well, they did that, and then he came out again for the ankle.
Yeah.
He didn't have a carry in the second half of that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. I'll say
he just seemed to be a different level of cat than most of these guys.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. He's one of the toughest guys I've ever been around.
I'll say McNichols is my leading ball carrier this weekend. Who's yours, B?
Yeah, okay.
We'll learn a lot more tomorrow.
I'm going to still go with B.
You're going with Brian Robinson. Okay.
Brian is still my guy until they say he's not playing.
Yeah.
Okay. You know who it could be? Jaden.
That's possible, too.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
I just want him to do his thing.
I didn't know that was the option.
That's an option.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, Jaden.
I mean, yeah, it should be, honestly.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I wish they had ran him more against Dallas.
Hey, isn't it funny, Nikki, where people didn't want, he can't run. Now everybody want him to run?
Oh, I know. I was just thinking that before you guys called. Like, remember when people were so concerned about the 16 carries? And
now they want him to run.
Can't. Yeah, I mean, I wish they would just let him loose more.
When does Terry McLaurin get his first catch?
Oh, my God. If it's not in the first quarter, sheesh. I can't. How is this possible? Every single year, no matter the quarterback, no matter the coordinator, no matter the head coach, they can't carry the ball till the third quarter. What about this is so difficult?
Well, basically what it shows me that they know when they need a play, they can go to him. And I think you should automatically assume that I'm going to need a play. I'm going to go to him early. That's what I think you should do.
But to me, that means like get some more playmakers around him. So there's, he has a better chance to get open, make it easier on him.
Nikki, before we let you go, we got breaking news on the Fan. I'm just seeing this on Twitter. This is from the BMitch and Finlay account. Per sources, Brian Mitchell considering filling paperwork to come out of retirement.
Let's go. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Larry, I didn't think you would do that to me, dog.
Nikki.
I'm retweeting that, definitely.
Oh, hell.
That might get me
I was
on
debating retweeting, and I'm like, oh, man, if I do this, it's going to become a thing. But you should totally do it, Nick.
Oh, Lord.
How about this?
I mean, I'm not answering my phone the rest of the day.
I'll probably see you tomorrow, but have a happy Thanksgiving in case we don't.
Thanks. You too, guys. See ya.